What up, Entourage? Welcome to Waiver Wire Wednesday, Week 14. It's playoff times, baby. Congratulations to everybody that made it. And I'm gonna hit you guys with the intro, and then I want to talk to you something real quick, and then we will get into our waiver wires. Let's go. The fantasy football Entourage for winning. Alrighty, guys. So, first and foremost, congratulations to everybody that made the playoffs. This, I know for me personally, this was the most difficult year I've ever had to experience. Yes, there's COVID, but in addition to COVID, which really attributed to a lot of these players, even like inadvertently, just because there wasn't an off season due to COVID. So maybe they got COVID, maybe they missed some games, but just the whole fact that we had to go through this whole pandemic, it's been a lot. It's been a lot on everyone, on this country, on this world, on fantasy football. It's affected so many of us on so many different levels. I personally had my worst fantasy year. And I think a lot had to do with just taking on too much, unfortunately, because, I do think I'm a very good analyst and fantasy football player, but I always said this. It's a combination of, yes, talent to be able to spot talent, but it's also a combination of hard work. And because I wasn't able to give my all to my teams, I never played more than 2 or 3 leagues. I played in 7 this year. Then it suffered because of it. There's a lot of sloppiness, missing out on waivers and things like that, and just forgetting to do certain things. And for me personally, it was tough. With that said, though, we had a lot of success. A lot of you guys, not only my viewers, but especially my Facebook group, those who have paid for the premium content or were in the group, because that was my main focus. You have to be a little bit selfless. When you got people paying for you, at least for me, it's not about the money. It's about under promising and over delivering. So anything that I do, I give 110%, and I want to make sure that you get more value than what you paid for. So I am happy with that. As you guys can see, I got a new view, trying to always try new things to give you better quality, give you better angles, give you better sound. I know I got some complaints on the audio. I'm not happy with where I'm at. I'm always striving to do better, but I also know that you guys just want content, so I wanna make sure I give you guys as much as I can. I do want to make this into a podcast. Hopefully, by next season it'll definitely be there. Same thing with the website, So I just wanted to share that with you. With that said, I want to give back to those of you that have made the playoffs. If you do not have the premium content, I'm going to make it for free. So, if you're interested, but I'm going to ask something in return from you guys. Okay. Those who don't know me personally, the main reason that I love fantasy football is I love connecting with you guys. I love going on the lives. If you're not following me, make sure you do so on Instagram. That's the funnest part for me. And today I was just like overwhelmed with the amount of DMs that I got, because I was kind of down. I'm disappointed. I'm a competitor. I realized that a lot of it was my own doing, but that doesn't make it any better that I didn't make the playoffs in a lot of leagues because I was sloppy. But just to see how excited you guys are, and I'm very well aware that fantasy football, it's a lot of people's lives. I know my life revolves around it, and my life probably even revolved around it more when I was just a player and just playing on 2, 3 leagues, and I was just looking, refreshing Roto World every 5 seconds, seeing if there's any breaking news so I could grab that player off the waiver wire. So I know for a lot of you guys, this is an escape. So that's why I take it even more personal and really get happy for you guys. Like, I know some of you guys' teams and players by heart, and a lot of you guys have some of the same players that, obviously I've recommended. So I'm going to offer everybody the premium content for free, but I'm going to ask something in return. I just mentioned the reason I love fantasy football so much is because I'm able to connect. I'm able to help people and bring people joy. And that to me is my calling. My life goal was always to be a life coach, motivational speaker, just somebody that, because I've been through my share of hurt, my share of bullying, my share of disappointment and relationships. I've lost my mom and I've had to overcome a lot in my life. And I want to be the light to those who have been through their own struggles because I know what it feels like to be at the bottom. I also know what it feels like to be at the top. I was making good money. I hit DraftKings for 6 figures and I had another 100,000 in my bank and I blew it. I went bankrupt. So I felt the highest of highs. I was traveling for 2 years. And I felt the lowest of lows. And I know, I'm a little bit rambling on here, but I just wanted to share this with you guys. I'll get into waivers now in a second. And I'm gonna offer the premium content, but I want you guys to do me something in return if you can, because I want to build my business and I want to help as many people. If you can follow me on Instagram, on my Facebook, or on my personal account, which is Berto Cartagena. That's B as in boy, ERTO. Okay, Cartagena, my last name, like the city in Colombia, CARTAGENA will mean a lot to me. I really want to get to 10,000. I got a long way to go, but that is going to help because then you get the swipe up feature and it'll help me, promote whatever it is that I'm doing, whether it's coaching or whatever. So, if you could do that and then just DM me in my personal account, be like, hey rapper, following you. I want the premium content. And then I'll email you the premium content for the waivers and for the rankings and things like that. So if you guys could do that for me, it would mean the world to me. And yeah, I'll put it in the comments. I'll pin it, and let's get into the waivers. All right. So, beginning with number 1, Logan Thomas. A lot of disappointments in the tight end position. That's one position I missed. It's weird because two players I was really high on was Higbee and Hurst. They kind of both bust. And then 2 players that I kind of told everybody to have as your backup. Well, I was also high on Gesicki. And then my backups were Goddard and Fant. I've been consistent about it. And my backups seem to be better than even, the players that I recommended. But again, this is why I always stress too that, pick tight ends late. Pick tight ends late because if you bust, it's not as big a deal. You know what I'm saying? Because if you don't got Kelsey and you don't got Waller, who do you really got? Everybody's in the same boat for the most part. And then you're able to pick up a guy like Logan Thomas. It doesn't really hurt you. But look, if you drafted Kittle early or Mark Andrews, who's now down with COVID and it's kind of been a disappointment with the exception of a couple games, that hurts you a lot more because those were the rounds that, Terry McLaurin were going, Ridley and players like that. So, you're not going to get them all right. 50% of players, I think even more this year, it's a fact, 50% of players either bust or get injured. And we could just go down the list. Just look at the top players. Saquon, CMC, Joe Mixon, Miles Sanders, Austin Eckler, Michael Thomas missed significant time, Adams missed significant time, Julio's missed significant time. So that has nothing to do with the analysts. It's just the fact of fantasy football. That's why I offer the Facebook group. That's why I offer the premium content. That's why I do these videos. A lot of these guys that are now hot waiver names, like my second guy, Kiki Cutie, told you to get last week. You know what I'm saying? Cam Akers, I've been telling you to get for weeks now. You know what I'm saying? And those, end up being your league winners and come in and fill in and you can replenish some of those guys if you lost some of these studs that you drafted early on. So anyway, Logan Thomas, going back to my first guy, 9 out of 9 targets, 98 yards and a touchdown. Alex Smith, he's known for throwing to his tight ends. He's not the most talented quarterback. So quarterbacks that have, limitations as far as their arm talent tend to go a little shorter. And Logan Thomas has been very consistent in snaps, in targets. I expect that to continue. Especially, doesn't seem like Terry McLaurin's at 100%. So definitely love Logan Thomas. Love. He's got a good schedule as well. And then you got Kiki Cutie, I just mentioned. Somebody Actually been talking about Kiki Cutie a couple of years. He was one of my waiver wire pickups his rookie year, did really good or had his moments, also his battles with injuries, unfortunately. Hopefully he can stay healthy, but I do believe he'll be, a consistent target in that offense because Brandon Cook's more of a big play guy. Kiki Cutie, I could picture being more, and he has been more of that possession receiver. Caught 8 of 9 targets himself, 141 yards. Gotta love that. Okay. And then this guy somehow always manages to be fantasy relevant just when you think he's down and out. The ageless one, Adrian Peterson, back-to-back games in what was perceived as tough matchups, getting those touchdowns, 17 points in back-to-back games. You gotta love that, almost like RB1 territory. And next up, he's got Green Bay. We don't know if DeAndre Swift is going to shake off this concussion. He hasn't in a couple of weeks, which is concerning. And if he does play, I still think Adrian Peterson will probably be a factor, and even with limited touches against Green Bay might be enough. Hoping for another goal line carry, so it's not pretty, but he's definitely worth a pickup, especially if Swift plays. I feel a lot more confident. But even if he doesn't, he can be in that RB3 flex territory. Okay, so AP was worth an add. Tim Patrick, player that I've mentioned, several weeks back, seems to be legit, man. 2 touchdowns, 20 points, even though they're going to need another quarterback. Lock's not it. But he's got double digits in 4 out of the last 5 games. The only game he doesn't have double digits, out of those 5, was the game where they had no quarterback, where he didn't have any points, but nobody did anything. That game, they caught 1 pass. I don't know who it was. Maybe fan. So yeah, he's been pretty consistent. He's in that wide receiver 3 flex range himself. So Tim Patrick is worth an add. He's proven it. And then last but not least, now, disclaimer on this next guy, talking about Ty Johnson, been getting a lot of questions about him, and this is the thing, I think analysts are pretty much lazy. They just, and I'm never going to call anybody out by name, and I think there's a lot of good analysts out there, a lot of entertaining ones, a lot of analysts that work hard, at least on their graphics and their content, but I just feel like everybody does the same thing. And I'm not being a hater, guys, but it's like Devontae Booker has a good game. Let's add Devontae Booker. It's like they're always just hopping players. And I spend more time telling you guys who to avoid. I think that's been my greatest feat, even though pretty much avoid everybody this year because everybody's had their share of either issues or injuries. But, a lot of value I bring is deciphering who's real and who's not. Told you guys, Gurley is falling apart. Told you guys, Bell. Told you guys, all the veteran running backs, David Johnson. Told you guys to stay away from all these guys, even Julio, T.Y. Hilton. I know he had a good game, but, he's been a bust. And then, so Ty Johnson, the reason he's on this list is because he's a starting running back, and any starting running back is worth an add. And he is talented. He's very fast, so he has that big playmaking ability, and he could catch the football. But, number 1, it's the Jets. Number 2, he did work, but it was the Raiders. So, I look at him like this. And I warned you guys about Brian Hill and Devontae Booker. And I think Ty Johnson could be this week's, Devontae Booker, Brian Hill, that player that people are hype about because he had a good game, because he has an opportunity. But, again, it's the Jets, and he's talented, but he's not like anything special either. So, he's worth an add. Just temper your expectations. He's worth the add just by default. Any starting running back is worth an add. So that's all I'm going to say about him. don't get cute, because I feel like a lot of you guys were asking me, should I start Brian Hill over, and I know Miles Sanders has been a bust, but still, like, don't get cute and just start these players over good players, even if those good players. I mean, I was getting questions. I think people were even at, should I start Devontae Booker or Alvin Kamara? And this is really where the talent over everything comes in. I know sometimes, and it's called a trap. Like, you figure, okay, Josh Jacobs is out. The Jets suck. Devontae Booker's gonna eat. He's got all the work, and Alvin Kamara's been struggling. He's not getting any targets. Atlanta's been good against the run. I should sit Alvin Kamara. That sounds like a great idea, but no, it's not, guys, because big players do big things, and when you least expect it, look at Aaron Jones this past week against Philly. Hadn't really done much, hovering around 10, 12, 13 points, something like that, and all of a sudden he just bust out against Philly, one of the better run defenses in the league, because big players do big things, talent over everything. It's not foolproof to the sense that it's going to work every week. Like, a lot of people are calling me out, well, hey, Cousins did do better than Kyler Murray and Derek Carr. I get it, and it'll happen. But you have to look at the situation as a whole. That will happen from time to time. But you know what will also happen? 2 weeks ago, Derek Carr threw a clunker against Atlanta. And I'm sure some of you guys were starting Derek Carr over, somebody in a more difficult matchup that you would normally play over Carr. So, as a whole, you're going to end up ahead. You know what I'm saying? As a whole. Just like if one guy goes up to one girl and he picks her up, he's got a 100% ratio. But if he goes up to, that guy, the other guy that got like 7 no's, if he's going to talk to 100 girls, he's going to get more girls than the guy that only talks to 10 girls, even though he's 1 for 1, and the first guy started 0 for 7. I don't know if that's a good analogy. But the point is, if you always start your studs in 10 straight games, and you go against somebody that plays the matchups for 10 straight games and not their studs, the studs are going to win. And we've seen it time and time again. And Devontae Adams went up against Slay, scored 2 touchdowns. Even Hopkins, he was going to get the Ramsey treatment. He had a touchdown. Big players do big things. Start your studs. That's what I'm saying. I think that was a terrible analogy. Sorry, I don't know where. But just to reiterate, guys, so my top waivers: Kiki Cutie, Logan Thomas, AP, Adrian Peterson, Tim Patrick, and Ty Johnson. Buyer beware on Ty Johnson. And if you want my premium content, follow me at Berto Cartagena. I'm going by the Mindful Rapper there, trying to rap about spirituality, mindset, personal development, self-help, and just being vulnerable and talking about my life experiences and what I've been through. And then once you follow, just DM me, say, yo, I want that stuff, and I will email you the premium content. All right, guys. Love you guys. Until next time. Peace.